Why did they need you there? You're my wife for crying out loud, Sandra. All this fame and money. What's the use if you can't give me a child?
Hello, people. Welcome to another interesting story segment on African Thoughts channel. If you're just joining us for the first time, please watch our videos, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment because your feedback is very important to us. Now, let's dive into today's story. Story. Once upon a time. The title of today's story is Sandra's Journey. This is the second part of her mother's legacy. Here we delve into the story of Sandra's marital journey. Sandra and Chima's marriage began like a dream, full of love, mutual respect, and a shared vision for their future. For the first 4 years, everything seemed perfect. They worked as a team, each supporting the other. Sandra's speaking engagements grew in numbers. Her influence expanded, and her income soared. Chima would proudly sit in the audience, clapping the loudest for his wife. But as Sandra's star rose higher, Chima's light seemed to dim in his own eyes. The man who had once believed in her dreams now felt threatened by them. He began to compare her success to his own, and the comparison was unforgiving. Chima's self-esteem withered under the weight of Sandra's achievements, though she never intentionally overshadowed him. At first, Chima's discontent was subtle, offhand remarks about how she was too busy these days, or spending too much time away from home. But it soon escalated. Invitations to prestigious events were met with disdain.
Why did they need you there? You're my wife for crying out loud, Sandra. Stay at home and focus on what matters. All this fame and money. What's the use if you can't give me a child? Yeah? If only you could take a break from all these travels, you wouldn't be childless by now.
Sandra was bewildered. She had married Chima precisely because he supported her independence. But the man standing before her now was not the same man who knelt to propose, promising her a partnership of equals. Chima began to tighten his grip. He stopped her from attending events, insisting that she needed to prioritize family. He reprimanded her for spending too much time on her career, subtly belittling her accomplishments. Sandra felt the walls of her marriage closing in. She stopped booking speaking engagements, stopped traveling, stopped dreaming. Every day she felt herself shrinking, her confidence eroding under Chima's relentless criticism. When Sandra confided in her parents, they dismissed her concerns. Chima is a good man, her father would say. Maybe you're just overreacting. Her mother, who had always advocated for Sandra's independence, was silent. The betrayal stung deeply. Sandra felt isolated, unheard, and invincible. Her mental health spiraled as the years passed. After a heartbreaking miscarriage, Chima's resentment grew. He blamed her for their childlessness, accusing her of being too ambitious to be a proper wife and mother. Sandra's life became a shadow of what it once was. a stark contrast to the vibrant woman who had inspired so many. One day, Sandra looked into the mirror, barely recognized herself. She realized she had become exactly what Chima wanted: subdued, dependent, and voiceless. That was the day she decided she couldn't live like this anymore. Filing for divorce was the hardest decision she had ever made. Chima fought her every step of the way, using the law, his money, and influence to strip her of everything. All the properties they owned, despite her contributions, were in his name. Sandra left with nothing but her freedom. For her, that was more valuable than any material possession. Sandra relocated to Lagos, seeking a fresh start. It wasn't easy starting over at her age, with no assets or active connections. Felt really daunting. She found a small flat to rent and was helped by Tolu, a kind young woman in her mid-20s. Tolu introduced Sandra to her two flatmates, Mercy, a tech-savvy go-getter, and Peace, who relied on her beauty privileges to navigate life. She came to live with them, and living with these women was a new experience for Sandra. They were young, vibrant, and full of hope. Watching them reminded her of the woman she used to be. Slowly, their friendship began to pull Sandra out of her shell. Sandra couldn't bring herself to visit her parents during this time. Her resentment towards her mother ran deep. For years, she had begged for support, only to be met with silence. When her mother passed away, Sandra refused to attend the funeral. The pain of her mother's inaction and disbelief had left wounds too raw to face. Her father, now bereaved and alone, reached out to her, but Sandra kept her distance. She couldn't reconcile the grief she felt for the loss of her mother and the anger she still carried. Despite the pain of her past, Sandra began to rebuild. She found solace in her new flatmates, who encouraged her to rediscover her voice. Tolu especially encouraged her to start writing again. Slowly but surely, Sandra began to heal. As she navigated her new life, Sandra realized that her journey, though fraught with hardship, was far from over. Her mother's legacy had been one of strength and survival, but Sandra was determined to create her own legacy, one of freedom and resilience, and the unwavering belief that even when life tries to break you, you can still rise again. We've come to the end of this beautiful story. We hope that you learned something today. Sandra's journey teaches us that no matter what life throws at us, we should always find a way to stand and rise above our predicaments.
Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on your notification button to stay updated on the juiciest African tales. From me, see you in the next one. Bye.